Pete Feenstra on Tuesday the 12th of July 2011, talking to the guitar phenomenon that is Eric Sardinas. Eric, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here, thanks.
This interview's for GetReadyToRock.com. We're going to talk about your brand new album called Sticks and Stones. And there it is, everybody, if you haven't seen it, world premiere on Provo Records. You've always lived life to the full, Eric. You've always poured everything you've got into your musical moments. Do you think this CD is a reflection of that? Is this the one? I think it's your best album.
Thank you.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I had a lot to say on this album. I think really tried to take it to the next. As all the records, I would like to go to the to stand up above the last, and hopefully have a new page to turn. And I think that really musically and lyrically, we accomplished that on this record.
And you've been working with Matt Gruber, the producer. Was there a lot of pre-planning before you went into this? Anything particularly different from before?
Well, I think the the consensus was when we selected the tunes for the record, we ended up kind of having that focus of where we were going to take it in the studio and the approach we were going to have. Yeah, we have good chemistry. That's probably.
But it still flows like a live set.
Absolutely.
Apart from the ballad at the end, of course, which nicely rounds off. The ballad which we'll talk about, which is Too Many Ghosts, which is kind of a bit of a departure for you.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It's the emphasis is on your singing, and the emphasis is on the song. There's not as much guitar blazing. You seem to have taken a completely different direction. Was that just something to finish the album off with?
Yeah, it was something I was just. It was one of those songs that I sometimes write songs that are good songs, but they're songs that I probably don't really work too well with me, even though they're emotionally my own. But this one, I felt that I could probably contribute enough to tie it in with this record.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Do something a little different.
Well, I was going to say the best track on the album, Behind the Eight, which is probably one of the best things you've ever done. I mean, did you feel that when you recorded it?
We had a lot of fun with that. Yeah.
It's a real high energy, super intense instrumental, lashings of guitar, which is what you're really all about, I guess, and your fans think you're all about.
Yeah. Well, we put that in there. That's definitely a beer drinking, hell raising kind of song. So.
But it's got a brilliant sonic quality to it, and you use a lot of different tones on that as well on your guitar. Is that something you thought about before you recorded the track?
Yeah, absolutely. Show the different colors of the sounds. The amp has a lot of different, the guitar has a lot of different voices. So I like to show the spectrum pretty much on the recording.
And one of the things you've achieved with that track and this album as a whole is you've got such incredible energy levels in the studio setting. Now, a lot of artists, guitar players particularly, aren't able to do that. You don't seem to have that problem. What do you do before you go in there? You crank the band up, or what do you do?
Well, I think that's a good point. A lot of things get lost. A lot of bands have problems where not a lot of bands, but it's a reality that in the studio you can lose energy very easily by breaking something up or tracking something, by taking the elements and recording separate things.
And you do it as a band.
It's really about facing each other, getting close, and cycling the energy until you capture something.
Yeah, and how long did that whole recording process take?
How long's the disc?
Yeah, no.
No, the album itself was done in well, we ended up doing something a little bit different. We ended up working in segments because we couldn't work continuously, which was something that was different for me. But we basically laid down the original, everything on the original track in 2 days.
Wow!
And then we worked on whenever we could break it up through 4 weeks. Just separate, going in until we wrapped it up.
Being a Get Ready to Rock interview, we've got some great sound effects for you people out there in here.
Oh, in the background?
There with that, yeah. Of course, you're famous for playing an electrified resonator, a hollow body guitar. A guitar that comes with a lot of blues history.
Sure.
How did you first start playing that, and who were the influences that drew you both to the instrument and to the music you play?
Yeah, I mean, I have a real love and connection with a lot of pre-war blues and a lot of Delta and Texas and country blues, and that when I started drilling pickups into those guitars when I was in my teens, I really was about taking that guitar out of its normal spectrum and pushing it into a different
That's exactly
place.
what you've done, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that's that whole respect tradition
And in,
value of mine. It's got the roots, but it's about going.
Yeah,
moving
yeah. And in contemporary, well, I say contemporary terms, from the 70s onwards, I mean, I guess people like Rory Gallagher, Johnny Winter, would they have had an influence on you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Using the same guitars and.
Oh yeah. It's just the list goes on and on. You know, I mean, it's like Stevie. If you can hear it, it's in there. You know.
Yeah. You've most of your career has been all about being on the road, taking it to the people. There was actually a time when you didn't record for 5 years, which everybody was looking for an album. There wasn't one. You seem to have made up for that now. You've had 3 albums in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, which is great.
Yeah.
How do you motivate yourself when you're doing that kind of hotel to hotel, gig to gig kind of tour, relentlessly?
It's actually a good thing for me. It's actually what really we're about. We're very much a live band, and, you know, very much being on the road and being out here is something that's the energy's circular. You know, whatever I give, I get right back
from the crowd.
With the live performances, it's just the reason why I'm here.
And did you ever have a problem in your previous career where you couldn't quite capture that as you have done on this disc? Because really, you know, your show's all about your energy, your flamboyant playing, your show, all those things, which are very difficult to put into songs sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's to me, I think the trick is really about the music cradling the lyrical content and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, because that's really what kind of creates the visual, takes you there. You know?
You did record Black Pearls, of course, which was I think was a live in the studio album for Steve Vai's label, Favoured Nations. What was the essential difference between this album and that experience, which was probably the closest you got to what you're doing now, I guess?
Yeah, well, that one was with Eddie Kramer, and that was. It was pretty much, well, the approach is pretty much the same. When we choose the songs, we go in there, and it's that's actually kind of one of the blueprints of his way of working is very similar to the way that I work.
Yeah.
And that was just about going in there and capturing the energy and getting the energy right in the studio.
Yeah.
And once the energy's right, once everyone's there, then you start playing ball.
Sure. And how did you hook up with Matt Gruber, who of course has recorded and produced the Scorpions, Queensryche, all kinds of people?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, he was working on many projects in L.A. and we befriended each other, and he was actually working on the Bat Outta Hell 3, I think.
Really?
I actually did a track on that album too, but it was because his involvement with that, and then we decided to go in and do the last album together.
Yeah.
And it was a really good choice because we really worked together well, and his way of working is very professional, very inspiring for me, and we have really.
Do you have to make adjustments to fit in with the way he works at all?
Well, I think we both make adjustments. I think that's, you know.
He tries to capture what you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of organic stuff, and that's really how I guess you capture kind of magic.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, now you're on Provogue Records, which is kind of home for a lot of high-profile guitar players. So I guess that fits you to a T, really.
It's great. I'm happy to be there, and I'm real fortunate to be.
Also means you're hopefully going to work more in Europe too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm raring to go. So.
I got one more question really, which is this. Going back to the guitar. Well, I've got 2 questions. We're talking about the guitar as we were earlier on. Does that working with a resonator rather than say a Strat? I mean, does that alter the way you approach your songwriting at all? Because I guess you've got an automatic rootsy feel in there to start with before you put pen to paper, because that's what you're going to play it on. Is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think the music follows. It just depends on which way it's going. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when it comes to writing, you know, I like to switch my guitars around and play some of the ones I don't bring out on the road with me.
Right.
Steel bodies, because every one of my guitars has a different voice, you know.
Yeah, and voicing is exactly the term.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this album is all about as well, which is absolutely great. Finally, the title "Sticks and Stones" comes from a track called "Burning Sugar." This seems to be a new trend with in the rock industry, is that people are taking the titles of their tracks from a different song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be that you had a song and the song would lend its title to the album, but now we seem to be taking it. How did that come about?
Actually, you know, it's been a interesting ride and a lot of ups and downs through the years, and you know, with the way this album came together and the songs and the way they came together, I think that I think Sticks and Stones was we're still here. We're doing all right. So I think it.
Well, you're doing better than all right, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is a killer album. It's out pretty soon, I guess.
Yeah.
Beginning of August. You're going to do some European dates?
We are. We start a European tour in a couple months, and then we're starting in Spain and I think España and France, Italy and Germany, and I think hopefully some UK dates pop up, and we'll be back here.
Well, we certainly hope so. Eric, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure's mine.
This has been Pete Feenstra for Get Ready to Rock. Thank you to Anne Piot on the camera. Good afternoon.